Because if I'm aggressive, I'm coming forward. The guy's throwing punches, I'm going to get hit with the punches. So the objective is to come forward and not get hit with the punches, to move your head and counter back.
And that was it?
Yeah.
You always said that, you know, what's the best way to box? And you said, just don't get hit.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mr. Richard Dolan!
I think you're a great coach, first of all, because you care.
Let's give him a hand, huh?
My name is Richard Dolan, and I'm an educator, I'm a lecturer, I'm an author, and also the host of my very own show. And for 2 years, Mike and I have been having these type of conversations coast to coast and around the world. And with that all being said, what we find very fascinating is that people are really enamored with who Mike is, what he's been, and what really led him to who he's become. Not so much for who he was in the ring, but really what led him to the development and rise of who he is outside the ring. So in all that time that we spent in interviewing him and being in front of cameras, and there's people in this room that have been a part of those processes and those experiences, we began to see something emerge that was very, well, quite unique. And that there was a real teacher in Mike. He wanted to give back. He wanted to share with others his insights, share with others where his form of wisdom came from, where his experience was. But most importantly, he wanted to really honor the spirit and the magic and the power of Cus D'Amato, his mentor. And so that took us into your living room. It took us into studios. It took us into hotels. It then found us in a gym, Tacos to be exact. So here we were in Tacos, Las Vegas. For those who don't know, and if you're a historical buff, you'll appreciate this. Tacos is where, Sonny Liston trained. It's where Muhammad Ali trained. It's where Iron Mike Tyson trained. So as we're in this gym, of course, there's a very different inspiration that goes on. And as we're doing what we're doing, I began to find myself not just as a fan, not just as a student, not just as an admirer of the sport and all that it does, but I began to realize that there's something here that people could learn, if in fact, in the midst of Mike. So I said, Mike, is there any chance we can actually maybe, get in the ring and you can show me a few moves? And as soon as I started showing him some of my moves, the ones that are proprietary to me, my style,
Yeah.
he giggled. He laughed and laughed and laughed. And then he laughed some more. He sent me an email saying he was laughing. He laughed at me. And I said, but that's just the reality. People don't know how to fight like Mike. They don't know how to defend like Mike. And so here we are in a gym as a backdrop and as a metaphor with no pressure. This is a test pilot conversation on first starting this discussion, which is Mike Tyson. When you think about what made you who you are, if we were to start really reverse engineering who you are, where would you want to start? Would it be with Cus? Would it be with mentorship? Would it be with the coaching, the training, your discipline? Where would you start that conversation?
My mentorship, my mentor.
Your mentorship. With Cus?
Yes.
Absolutely. Now tell us a bit about what Cus meant to you with our friends here.
He was like a father figure. He adopted me when I was 12 years old, and discipline and dedication was our whole total method.
Unbelievable. Well, who here, I'm sure you've heard of Cus D'Amato, but for me, when you hear of Cus D'Amato, you hear of a boxing trainer, you hear of a really old, stodgy Italian, stubborn man. You probably have heard stories about just what he's done and stuff. But what did he mean to you in particular? You say father figure, what more?
I knew he was, as a father figure and as a son figure, he wanted me to be champ of the world, heavyweight champion. Just to be in that position to be his son, I wanted, like everybody else, they wanted to make their father happy. And I wanted to make him happy and be a champ.
So I don't mind sharing this with everybody here because these are friends of the firm, if it were. Anytime and every time we talk about Cus, I can always see and always feel that he's welting up about Cus, And this is a bit of a real true tribute to Cus, if it were. But as we move on about mentorship.
He's a trainer, you understand. When you have a good mentor, nothing like it.
It's everything. It's everything. When we talk about, look, we're all just fascinated with just what made Mike Mike. So we are talking about Cus, we're talking about Camille. We know he was like a father figure. When you began to train and when you began to build yourself up as a boxing champion of tomorrow, what were some of the things that were real obstacles for you when you were training? What was hard for you to get in the ring?
The most difficult thing was discipline. It's just I always wanted to be out with the other kids. I never went to school dances, so I wanted to go out to school dances. And I knew if I was to separate myself from that, one day I'll be champion. I know it sounds so mundane, but it's true.
But it's also true that you didn't believe you'd become a champion. You only heard Cus saying that you were going to be the champion. And that was a very difficult thing for you to believe, wasn't it?
Well, he sold it to me. He sold it to me. So, you know, it's very difficult to believe. But, you know, it's what I was born to do.
Yeah. No, you were born to do it. Absolutely. Built for it, by the way. But, and I don't know for you, but for me, anytime I see him getting emotional, I get emotional because I didn't know Cus, but I can only imagine what a mentor meant.
Oh, I couldn't believe him. Incredible.
So if he was here, what would you want him to know?
This guy is so charismatic. What he could do, he could eat a pizza and make it like, this is the best pizza I've been all over the world, but this pizza right here is the best pizza in the world. And make a pizza a superstar. And that's the kind of guy he was. He's the kind of guy that gave a lot of compliments and gave you a lot of cliches to yourself. And he really made a little insecure kid a world champion. I was really insecure when I met him. Really young and insecure, 12 years old.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say you were an insecure kid who had a real great swing. And he saw the talent, the skill set, but he also saw that he had an opportunity to contribute by being able to build you up. Would you not agree?
100%.
100%. And I think that's what's important about what it is that we're not just doing with Fight for Youth, but also some other initiatives that we got going on. I'm looking around for Les. I don't know where you just went, but the reality is that boxing is not just a sport. It's not just something to be competitive in. It's something actually that is a great avenue for people to discover a truer
Well, there were a
self.
lot of fighters in the gym, but everybody wasn't there to become champion. People were there to champion themselves, to overcome themselves. And that's what boxing is a metaphor for life, because, you know, you have to take these punches in life.
No, absolutely.
Regardless, whoever you are.
So you're off the street, you're insecure, Cus is selling you to be the best tasting pizza in the world, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Yes.
And the best piece of pizza ever in the world, right? That's what you would say.
Bought off the corner store.
That's right. You just bought down the street. As you're beginning to build up and train then, tell me, what was it like for you now to, in fact, be in the ring, be a actual professional boxer?
I don't know, it's about being supremely confident, and I really believed in myself, and I had a really somewhat of pride, if you could say, and I just believed I was the best in the world.
You didn't? Was there a time?
No, I did believe I was.
You did believe it. Okay, great. And that confidence, was that the most important part of you being a boxer?
Absolutely. Confidence, there's nothing that supersedes confidence. Confidence supersedes genius.
Now, for those who study you and know that you studied the sport, what did you do a lot of when it came to studying greats and understanding what their plays and makes and moves were all about?
Well, I studied them as people, who they were and where they came from and how they developed certain style, because everybody's different in all aspects.
Right. Well, when it comes to understanding their different aspects, would you watch footage? Was it that you studied the books? Did you interview boxers?
Well, I met a lot of the great fighters and also watched them on tape.
So who did you model yourself after?
Most like Jack Dempsey, Sonny Liston.
And what was it about Liston that you liked the most before I get to Dempsey?
It was just very aggressive fighters.
Anyone notice that he was an aggressive boxer by chance, in case you missed a few of his rounds? And that brings me to a good point. A lot of people would wonder, was your aggression a part of your style, or was it a part of an anger? Was it a part of an unbridled enthusiasm?
It was more part of the technique, if anything.
Ah. So tell me more about that.
Because if I'm aggressive, I'm coming forward. The guy's throwing punches, I'm going to get hit with the punches. So the objective is to come forward and not get hit with the punches, to move your head and counter back.
And that was it?
Yeah.
You always said that, what's the best way to box? And you said, just don't get hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you also said that, everyone's got a great laid plan until they get punched in the face.
Well, that was just talk, but everybody else is making that a big thing now.
But that's a great segue to the next conversation. How much of boxing back then and even today is really entertainment? Is really truly fanfare?
Well, it has to be real. Of course, it has to be real. But you have to have entertainment to bring the guys. Anybody can say, "Hey, I'm Big Mike. I'm Big John. It's going to ring him." That's not going to draw the people to the seats.
No, that's not going to. And do you feel that might be missing in boxing today, given what's going on?
Well, there's a new guy out called Joshua Coley from England, and he might change boxing.
And why do you say that? What's it about him that's changing boxing the way we know it?
And he got the look. He's big, he's strong, and he knocks out people. And that's what people want. People don't want guys to run around for 12 or 15 rounds.
No.
That's not what they want. They want guys that really do damage to other guys.
Well, as a fan of yours for a lot of years, I got to say, we also didn't appreciate the 13-second knockouts either, But, all the family we had to fly down and check into a hotel and put
That's good stuff, man.
It was good stuff. It's good stuff. I'm not complaining. So, before we get into sort of a conversation about some of your techniques, like literally showing our friends what some of your techniques would be, what would you say right now, as you're an author, you're about to come up with a new book, tell us about the process. The one-man show, it looks to me as it was a tipping point for you of going into the world you're in now. That one-man show led to the development of books and stuff.
Hey, listen, I don't know what made me do that show. I saw Chaz Parmentary do a show, and I told my wife that we can do this, and she signed for 2 weeks. We were reading and writing, and then the 6th week we got to the show. It was a success.
It was a huge success. Spike Lee played a very important role, being the director. For those who've seen it, I know there's lots of accolades and awards and such.
Really good stuff. Really
good stuff. How much of that, though, was therapeutic for you in telling your story and sharing much of what's gone on, not just about your mentor, but just even some of your life journey?
Not too therapeutic. It's just with Mike Tyson doing Mike Tyson the best he possibly can. Always objective. I never get too personal.
What's your favorite part about doing the one-man show?
Well, my fight with Mitch Green was pretty good.
So why don't you share with our friends, because many, I'm going to assume people aren't familiar with that story, but can you tell us a story about when you actually bumped into Mitch Green, apparently? Would you mind?
Well, I was happening to go to a place that stays open overnight called Dapper Dan. And he makes really fine, nice little jiggy suits for you. And I happened to go there, and Mitch Green happened to be there. So he started calling me Cicely Tyson and all these, Miss Tyson and all these really bad words and stuff. And so I hit Mr. Green. Just a little. Yeah, just a little.
Now that's not the entire story, though.
Well, I got in trouble too. I got in trouble. Mr. Green sued me because I hit him, and I wound up giving him $100,000. Yes, I did.
That was an expensive suit.
Yeah. Could have given more.
Now, the story I heard was, and I don't know if this was you that told me, but you actually didn't want to fight with him in the store.
Well, I didn't want to fight, but I had no choice. He called me Cicely Tyson and Miss this and Miss that, and you Cicely and you're a bitch, and he's calling me all these names. Had no other choice, guys.
So you had to be the aggressor.
I tried to defend myself.
So he ends up from inside the store to on top of a car. Is that not true?
Yeah.
It's an old story now.
Under the car.
Now, I don't know about you, but if you're under a car, that's not looking good. That's not a good fight to be in. That's for sure.
It's funny.
But all the stories in your one-man show has really led to I think, the recalibration of your brand, the relevance of who you are. So? Absolutely. I think people are now fascinated with the fact that you're telling your story your way, with your words, the way you want it to be told. And I think people are really appreciating that you're coming out and telling people what it was to be in the ring and outside the ring, raising families, rising above broken homes, and the likes. And I think we want to give you a round of applause for that. I think it's really, yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So now, before we get to the next component of what we want to do here with our friends today, now you're broadening your brand into the world of building your own gyms. You're in the business world. You're in movies. Of all those things, what do you enjoy most doing?
Live entertainment.
Live entertainment. And this is live entertainment. We're going to have to turn it up a little bit soon.
Okay.
That's okay. So, and of the live entertainment, and when you do that, I've watched you with fans. Do you find yourself in awe of how big your fan base has grown, even young and old? Do you notice it?
Well, the people that know me now from my cartoon and The Hangover movie don't know my boxing career.
Right, right. For those that don't know the story about The Hangover, in talking with Mike, he's the ambassador to the energy drink called Black Energy, and I got to qualify this because these are our friends. It's not for black people. It's actually called Black Energy. It's an energy drink. Available to all races, by the way. But in Poland, what was interesting is that's where this brand was built and based, and their largest fan base was born out of a fan base that was following The Hangover. So how important was that franchise and that film for you in your career?
It was pretty handy.
It was pretty handy.
Yeah.
And as you move on, you've got a new book coming out. What's it called?
Iron Ambition.
Iron Ambition. You're going to be going on a book tour at the end of the month.
Yes.
And it's an exciting time. And you're going to actually start the book tour in Brooklyn.
Yeah, but I hate the book tour, really, because the book tour, people asking questions, then sometimes you might have to cry, then you get mad that you're crying and stuff. Oh, man, that's what the book tour. The book tour is pretty difficult.
No, I get it. But this book's different from The Undisputed Truth. And what I liked about having seen the manuscript, that this book is different than your life story, than what made Iron Mike Tyson Iron Mike. This one's about sort of the codification of what's made you so great. Can you tell us more about the new book?
Well, to everybody else, it's me talking about this old guy that adopted me and he took a kid off the street to become the heavyweight champ of the world. But to me, it's me talking about my father, and that's painful.
Yeah.
So it's kind of different sometimes.
I get it. Well, if it's any consolation, before we go to the next phases of this conversation, that's why we want to put together the Confidence Camp. I believe, and I think it's the Tyson's family belief, that by being able to bring out the very things that Cus taught him and teach it to people, teach people what it was to be disciplined, committed, to have a plan, to be in action, and to constantly monitor, right, the quality of your actions to make sure that you're always on course. And I think that's good old-fashioned, Mike mentorship. Would you not agree?
Well, it's good stuff.
It's good stuff. This is good stuff. I like this stuff. Okay, so here's what I want to do. A lot of people, before we came into the session, they want to know a couple of things, and we might, in fact, can I invite you inside of the ring? Can we do that? Can we give this guy a round of applause? Get him into the ring, maybe? Let's get in the ring. Come on, bring this mic in.